It was the most exciting offseason in Philadelphia Eagles history, but also the longest. And following an outstanding preseason, Eagles fans are not only sipping on the Kool-Aid, they're chugging kegs of it and doing keg stands throughout the Delaware Valley. That chip aid, it is delicious. Mike Owens is here. Jeremy Burton is here as well. We're going to break down and preview the Eagles season. Basically what we're going to do is, since there was so much turnover and roster turnover, Chip is in charge now. The Chip Tater is calling the shots. We're going to talk about, what the difference is between last year and this year. Did we upgrade or did we downgrade in certain positions? So we're going to get into that shortly, but let's introduce the guys first. Let's start with Mike. How's it going, man?
Oh man, well, it's going great because we're one day closer to the Eagles starting the season, and I can tell you that everybody in Philadelphia is pumped up right now. I mean, expectations, it seems like they're getting higher and higher each day as we get closer to the season.
Yeah, I'm hearing comparisons to 2004. After we got T.O., everybody was, and Javon Curse, everyone was so excited. Expectations were, for the Super Bowl that year. We've been to how many NFC championships before that? Lost 3 in a row before that, and then finally had that 2004 season. So I would put expectations right around what they were during that season. Everyone's excited. Football's around the corner. I've had 3 fantasy drafts the past few days. I know real football is coming soon. So, I'm pumped up. I think the Birds have a great squad.
Oh, man. And such a crazy, crazy offseason. All the moves. Each day, our emotions are up and down like a roller coaster. I mean, insanity. We had the McCoy for Alonso trade. You had the Foles for Bradford. You have Byron Maxwell signing. You have Frank Gore signing and then calling, Chip a bitch and going his own separate way. You had Jeremy Maclin leaving. Devin McCourty decides to stay in New England. We don't sign a safety, but we move Walter Thurman to safety. We bring in DeMarco Murray. We bring in Ryan Matthews. Thank you, Frank Gore. And here we are. What do you guys think?
It was a wild ride, I'll tell you that much. But, that's what Chip wanted to do. He wanted to shake things up and, get the players in here that he wants. And, he sure did it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Year 1 of Chip as a GM in full control, he outdueled Howie and knocked him to the ground, gave him another office somewhere else down the hall, and wanted to take control, made all the moves, he got the guys he wanted who fit his system. McCoy dances a little bit too much. All right, let me get 2 for the price of 1 and get 2 one-cut runners for pretty much the same price. Bradford's quickness, quick decisions, accuracy, fits Chip's mold. Nick Foles maybe held on to the ball a little too much, which was frustrating last year. We'll get into all those comparisons later. But, yeah, that's just Chip took the reins, and he definitely took us for a ride.
Well, later is right now because we're getting into it right now. I wanted to say meow, and whatever. Okay. All right, so we trade for Bradford. And at first, a lot of people were like, oh, my God, what is Chip Kelly doing? We trade for this injury-prone quarterback. And not only do we give up Foles, a guy who was 14-4 as a starter, we also give up a second-round pick. And then we're also, we're talking about the salary cap situation, and we got a guy that's, over $10 million more. What the hell is Chip Kelly doing? And then we see him play, and the training camp, and the reports coming out, and we're like, oh my God, Chip Kelly, he might be right. So let's start with you guys. I'll get to my opinion on the matter in a couple seconds. Mike, upgrade, downgrade, Nick Foles, Sam Bradford, what do you think?
Well, judging from the preseason here with Bradford, I think you would have to say it's an upgrade at this point. Obviously, that's, barring all the health concerns with Bradford's knees. But if, Bradford can play anywhere from, 13 to 16 games, you would have to say based on what he's done here in the preseason and training camp, I would give it an upgrade at that position.
I'm going upgrade as well. You bring up the injuries. I mean, Nick Foles wasn't scot-free with injuries at his time here as well. Ankle issues, collarbone broken, all kinds of things in the couple of years that he was here. So Bradford, I think, has all the intangibles that Chip wants. Like I mentioned earlier, the quick passes, smart, quick decisions, gets rid of the ball, good pocket presence. Whereas I know Nick Foles was really frustrating me last year when he throw off his back foot, pressure would get in his face, he would get flustered, make more mistakes. Overall, I think Bradford's the guy. That's Chip's guy. It's an upgrade. Yeah, it cost us second round pick and an extra whatever he's making, 14, 13 million. But I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah, Jeremy, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. Everyone's talking about Bradford and can he stay healthy for a whole season? But like you said, Foles is a guy that hasn't necessarily played a whole year either. He had the broken clavicle. He's had concussion problems. The guy hasn't stayed healthy either. So, is it really, that big of a deal? I don't know. But going to Bradford's traits, obviously, big upgrade here. As long as he can stay healthy, stay on the field, gets rid of the ball really, really quickly, puts the ball on the proper shoulder, very accurate, makes quick decisions, has a quick release. I mean, he's a great fit for this offense. There's the kind of misconception that Chip Kelly needs a mobile quarterback for his system, and that's true for the college game, but for the pro game, not so much. At least I don't think so. And when you look at the running the zone read kind of thing, what you're looking for is if that defensive end, goes too far and overcommits, the quarterback, you only want him to run if he has the free 7 yards, and that's when you take off. And that's kind of what we've seen with Foles. Maybe we'll see it with Bradford. Who the hell knows? They may not run it as much, obviously, with the knee injuries, but that's what I've kind of seen Chip, at the pro level. It's not a college gimmick kind of thing. They just run it really, really fast, and that's the gimmick of it, I guess.
Yeah, he just wants to keep.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, he wants to keep moving the chains, quick passes. Utilizing different mismatches. Sproles comes to mind a lot. How he can do that little wheel route and no linebacker or safety can cover him. He's got a smart scheme. He's got I think right quarterback at the helm as long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and you start to talk about the running backs, and that'll kind of bring us into our next segment here when we talk about the running backs, because you think about Chip Kelly and you think about what he was like at Oregon, and how he operated was really with having a three headed monster at that running back position.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it is now. We're seeing it with Matthews and Murray, and what's going to happen is the one-cut power running, and if you're running it at such a tempo, defenses obviously are going to get tired. So by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, is anybody going to want to tackle DeMarco Murray? And that's kind of what we're going to see out of this offense. So I guess I'll start here. I think upgrade. Who would have thought when you got rid of LaShawn McCoy that you guys would actually, we would actually upgrade at the running back spot? But that's exactly what's happened. You bring in Murray. Obviously, Murray's not as good as McCoy. McCoy's like a top 5 running back in my opinion, and DeMarco isn't. He's like top 10, but not top 5. And then you bring in Matthews too. Matthews is like top 20, top 25 guy, and they both fit the offense perfectly. One-cut runners. You're going to get the 3 to 4 yards on first down. You're not going to get the losses, that you're going to see from Shady from all the dancing. So instead of seeing 2nd and 14, you're going to see 2nd and 6. And for the Chip Kelly offense, imperative to get that first down, to get the rhythm going, to get the flow going. We're not going to see as many 3-and-outs this year. That's basically my point.
Yeah, without question, this is an upgrade. When Frank Gore, turned his back on us and decided that he wanted to go to the Colts, we were a little bit concerned about the running back spot, obviously. But Frank Gore deciding not to come here actually worked out, perfectly for the Eagles. They were able to steal, DeMarco Murray away from the Cowboys, and they were able to get, Ryan Matthews at the same time. And you add that with Sproles, they really have a dynamic backfield. And now with the depth in the backfield, they're going to be able to use Sproles the way they want to, more of a receiver rather than a running back.
Yeah, I agree. And also, money-wise, it's kind of a two-for-one deal. Shady had the big contract, and we kind of got Matthews on the relatively cheap, and I believe Murray was $40 million over 5 years, was it? So maybe $8 million a year. And the one-cut running is great. I remember one preseason game. It was like 2nd and 7. You just saw Murray take a couple yards, and then he just saw beeline right for the first down marker and just like went for it. Once they pick their hole, and the running game, the offensive line looked great. The running game is huge in Chip Kelly's offense, and like you said earlier, he can keep them fresh, can rotate them. I think that'll prove beneficial in the long run of keeping them healthy and keeping them fresh, and so they can go the whole season, and we won't have to worry about any injuries, hopefully.
Yeah, and the other thing we're going to see too is an improved percentage in the red zone, because McCoy, he was great in between the 20s, but when it came, to being inside the 10, inside the 5, he kind of had a little bit of trouble sometimes punching it into the end zone. But with the decisive one-cut running that is DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews, I think we're going to score a lot more touchdowns and not settle for as many field goals.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely right on point there.
All right, so I should have titled this show "Thanks, Frank." That's really what I should have done. I remember when we when we were going to sign him, I was hating it. I hated the move. He's 32-year-old running back. Guys that are over 32, they just don't. You don't see that many 1,000-yard rushers, at that age. And granted, they would have signed somebody else to pair with him and keep him fresh or whatever. But Frank, I didn't want Frank to tank. I didn't want him. I'm so happy that this wound up happening, to get those guys. So moving on to the wide receiver position, Jeremy Maclin, not brought back, gets signed for $11 million a year in Kansas City, reunites with the Big Red Tomato in KC. So now we have a younger core, Jordan Matthews, Nelson Aguilar, some young pups, Josh Huff too. Unfortunately, we still have Riley Cooper, but he's still on the team. But it's a younger version of last year's receivers. I think in time it's going to be better, but this year I'm going to say downgrade.
Yeah, I would have to agree. For this year, you're probably looking at a downgrade from last year, especially you lose a guy like Maclin. It's tough to replace, and really they're replacing Maclin with a rookie wide receiver, so it's going to be tough there. But besides that situation, pretty much the rest of the receiving core is about the same, except for the addition of Miles Austin there. But other than that, it's about the same.
Yeah, it's very similar. I guess right now I'd agree it's a downgrade because you're replacing the production Maclin did last year, over 1,000 yards and several touchdowns with a rookie. I mean, his potential is great for Aguilar, but as of right now this year, yeah, maybe it's a slight downgrade. I mean, we did replace, so we got Miles Austin instead of Jeff Mail, which I think individually that may be an upgrade because Jeff Mail sucks, and Miles Austin at least a possession guy, veteran receiver. But yeah, the main transaction here was losing Maclin and gaining Aguilar. So the career year Maclin had last year would be pretty impossible to replicate from a rookie wide receiver, I'd say.
Yeah.
To distribute the wealth a little bit more.
Yeah, I kind of agree with, they may have a little bit more depth this year. Guys heading into their second year, you have more options because last year it was basically Macklin and nobody else. And with this year, but there's some guys that have to, take that next step. Matthews has to take the next step. Huff has to take the next step. Aguilar has to produce as a rookie. So we'll see if these guys can step up.
Yeah, yeah. Really, the wild card in this whole wide receiver core is Josh Huff. If Josh Huff can really play up to the potential that the Eagles think that he can. He showed flashes last year, but he also made some stupid mistakes. So if they can get what they want out of Huff, then that would be really big for this receiving core.
Yeah, I agree as the wild card as well. And I didn't see too much from him in the preseason. So, I'm anxious to see if he can, come on the outside and maybe overtake Cooper for playing time, I hope.
Yeah, Cooper. The pooper Cooper. Oh, man. Well, I guess I'll just touch on that really quickly. For the Chip is racist crowd, the reason why Cooper is still on our team is because his cap hit would be too much to release him. So it's better off to just keep him. I think there's a really, really good chance that he gets released next training camp. That's my prediction.
I like your prediction.
Oh yeah.
All right, moving on to the tight ends. We got Brent Selleck, Zach Ertz. Guys getting a year older. Well, at least for Ertz. What's this, year 3 now? So we'll see if he can he was supposed to be a breakout guy last year. Didn't see the field that much. Saw his snaps reduce as the offensive line got hurt. So we'll see. Trey Burton is the third wheel. No more James Casey. He's now in Denver. So what do you guys think about the tight ends?
Yeah, this is an upgrade. I mean, no more James Casey, and it looks like Trey Burton has advanced here another season under the system. So you like what you see with Trey Burton. Maybe he even produces some on the offensive side of the ball this year. He was mainly a special teams guy last year. Obviously, Selleck, you get the great blocking, and then Ertz. You hope that he has that breakout year. But if anything, it'll definitely be an improvement from last season.
Yeah, I think we got improvement just in the fact that there's another year in for Burton and Ertz. I mean, Selleck's already the vet. He knows his role. He's a great team guy. He's a great blocker. He'll do anything Chip wants him to do. Ertz, he's a game time decision for Monday night. So hopefully he can suit up and continue this. Year 3. We want it to be a breakout for Ertz. But then you also saw the capabilities of Trey Burton, and he's fast. He's actually our emergency third quarterback too. If he's active and we don't activate our third quarterback, so he can kind of do it all.
Yeah, come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Yeah, I love me some Ertzy, man. He saw his snaps increase as the year went along, as the offensive line got healthier. I know there were a lot of fans wondering last year. I'll get this spiel out again for the people that didn't watch our Ertz video. Basically, as he's not a great blocker in pass protection. So obviously our offensive line was in shambles, giving up a lot of pressure. So Selleck was asked to stay in and block, which is taking a lot of snaps from Ertz. But obviously, offensive line got healthy. Ertz saw more snaps, sets an Eagles franchise record against the Redskins. So I'm expecting an increased workload and a career year for Ertz this season.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah, we're really hoping that from Ertz. So.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Oh man. All right, moving on. Offensive line. By the way, upgrade big time. Tight end. Offensive line, Evan Mathis, he's now gone. Evan Almighty took his talents to Denver. Didn't get as much money as he would have liked, but it happened. So I think we're all going to agree that we're downgrading at offensive line, but is it really as bad as we would have thought a couple months ago? That's basically the question here.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as we thought. Definitely a downgrade, but could have been a lot worse. Really, the big question mark was the right guard position, and it looks like Andrew Gardner has done a pretty solid job there. So hopefully he can continue that. But with that was really the biggest question mark, and Gardner's done a nice job. So that's what makes it not that big of a downgrade.
Yeah, it's interesting because it was such an area offensive line was such an area of concern going into the preseason, and losing Mathis, which I still wish he was here just for one more year. I mean, he's one of the best guards in the game when he's healthy and going strong, and he standing next to Jason Peters and Jason Kelsey. That was a strong left side of the line. So yeah, I didn't love Chip's decision to cut him, but in any event, we have Alan Barbary stepping in, Andrew Gardner. I saw the cohesion with them, with Lane Johnson and Kelsey and Peters as well throughout the preseason. I was really impressed. So, we plugged in those guys, and if it works, it works. The running game looked great. They protected Bradford. If they can keep it up for the regular season and stay healthy, I think our offensive line isn't as quite bad shape as we thought it might have been.
Yeah, obviously the guard spot was, the main concern, and not only in, just in general of losing Mathis, but with having Bradford in here and his knee history, guys coming through the middle, through the guard spot. I mean, that was kind of scary. But Barbary looks solid. Gardner's one of the bigger surprises during the preseason. I mean, he looked really good. Run blocking, he was good. Screen game, he was blocking well. Still needs a little bit of help in the needs to improve in pass protection, but if Bradford's going to be getting the ball out really, really quickly, it may not even matter. So, definitely not that concerned of the offensive line as much as, I was definitely a little bit scared a couple months ago, but right now, I think we're okay. And, obviously downgrade, we do actually have, well, at least we have Lane Johnson for the first 4 games this year, unlike last season, but definitely, it's a downgrade, but it's not something that I'm uncomfortable with. Yeah, so, there's that. All right, moving on, D-line. Well, I think we'll all agree it's an upgrade, and it's basically the same unit, but I'll get on to you guys, whoever wants to start first. Why is it an upgrade? And I already know your guys' answers.
Well, Benny likes to eat offensive linemen for breakfast, so he's ready every Sunday. I'll bet. I mean, watching Benny Logan this preseason, I think he had one of the best preseasons out of anybody. I mean, just his quickness for a big boy and being able to penetrate in the backfield, like it's his strength and quickness is ridiculous. And Cedric Thornton also very underrated. He was tops in fumble recoveries and forced fumbles last year. He was around the top of the league. And then you got Fletcher Cox another year in. Basically, our whole defensive line's another year in and a year more together and more experience, and they're already stud muffins. So they're just gonna continue to be stud muffins.
Oh yeah, you gotta love Benny Logan. He's had an outstanding preseason, and it looks like that he's just ready to break out this year. So gotta love Benny. But you also look on that D line. Bo Allen is a guy that we've talked about here before on the show. He's the backup nose tackle there, and he's done a solid job. Looks like he's continued to improve coming into his second year now in the Chip Kelly system. Also, guys to keep an eye on this season are guys like Brandon Baylor and Taylor Hart, who Taylor Hart especially, didn't really see the field that much last season. So you hope, being a higher draft pick, that he can get onto the playing field sometime this season.
Yeah. I've made this point before with Benny Logan, and I made it with Fletcher Cox last year. The third year is when you really, really take the leap from, say, average player to Pro Bowler, and I think we're going to see that with Benny Logan this season. Oh my goodness. If the Green Bay game, he's going up against Corey Linsley, one of the better centers in the game. I know it's only preseason, it really doesn't matter, but there are two instances where he's 5 yards into the backfield, and we're talking about a top 10 center in the game. So, I mean, I'm expecting huge, huge, huge things from Logan this year. Cox is just going to take another step forward. He's probably the best player on our defense. So he might be the best player on our team, period, Fletcher Cox. So, two guys right there. And no one talks about Cedric, the non-entertainer Thornton. He just stuffs the run. We're going to be rotating Vinny Curry, whether he's playing outside linebacker or playing DN. He's going to be pressuring the quarterback. So a lot to love about our D-line, the strength of our team, and just another year. I mean, third year for Logan, fourth year for Cox now. These guys are outstanding.
Yeah. Well, they nicknamed themselves the Nobodies. Well, I have a feeling after this season, that's not going to be their nickname anymore, because I feel like they're going to get the national attention that they deserve, especially with our schedule and as many primetime games as we have. People will recognize them.
The NFL loves the Eagles. They love Chip Kelly. They love a team that will be in any game. I feel. I mean, I think we will. I think we're one of the better teams in the league. Whether there's not a game that I'm really worried about.
We'll get to our predictions later. So I know you're scoffing at the bit. You're so excited. Just sipping on that chip aid. Oh, it does taste glorious. I guess we'll get to our favorite flavors, too, later in the show as well. All right, so moving to linebackers, obviously, upgrade here as well. I mean, acquiring Kiko Alonso, you re-signed Kendricks, you re-signed Ryans, and then the outside backers as well, Connor Barwin, Brandon Graham, re-signed him. So, second in the NFL in sacks last season. So what are your guys' opinions on the linebacking squad?
Yeah, linebackers, definitely an upgrade. With the addition of Kiko Alonso, that was big considering the injury history, even though Kiko has an injury history, but considering the injury history with the guy like D'Amico Ryans, who is getting older, and also Kendricks, who missed some games last year. So it was key for the Eagles to, go out and get a stud inside linebacker like Kiko. Kiko is also young and hopefully a stud here for many years to come. So obviously, Kiko is a big reason why that's an upgrade.
Yeah, Kiko is the biggest reason why that's an upgrade, and we also re-signed Brandon Graham. He kind of came out into his own and made himself kind of look like worth that first round pick. He's shown much improvement. We got Connor Barwin, and then we got Kiko with Kendricks and D'Amico Ryans in that rotation, and it's a smart move bringing Kiko in because of the injuries last year. D'Amico Ryans missed time, Michael Kendricks missed time, and Kiko, we all know when he did his rookie year, he was high in the league in tackles, interceptions for a linebacker. I mean, he was up there with Defensive Player of the Year. So, and that brings an element into our defense and our linebackers, which is, really exciting.
Yeah, the best part about Alonso is how the Eagles saved 15% or more in salary cap insurance by switching to Kiko. So they saved a lot of money, and this linebacking core can do a little bit of everything. Kiko can cover, Kendricks can blitz, Ryans can stuff the run. They're outside backers, Barwin and Graham, they can pressure the quarterback. Barwin does a little bit of everything. So there's nothing this unit can't do.
Yeah, they've got a lot of playmakers in that linebacking unit, so that's really the key there. They've got, a bunch of guys that can do different things, and really the key with Kiko is he's a guy that can really cover the whole field. So getting a guy like him was huge.
And his acceleration, he's fast. Kiko is quick. Watch him go. He only played like 8 snaps the other night in that preseason game, but watching him accelerate, it's really exciting, especially pair next to Michael Kendricks. I can't wait to see them two actually playing next to each other. It's just, oh man, it's awesome. Brings
Yeah.
a smile to my face.
Yeah, man. I mean, he did look a little bit rusty, but you can see it. You know, the speed, the acceleration, how quick he is. So, I mean, it may take a month or so to get reacclimated. I said this about Bradford. I appear to be wrong. So we'll see what happens with Kiko. But man, a lot to be excited about this linebacking core. Moving on to the secondary, obviously Byron Maxwell was the big shark reeled in during free agency. Got rid of Bradley Fletcher, got rid of Kerry Williams, got burnt so much they got skin cancer. So, we bring in, but the big get might actually wind up being former Denver defensive backs coach Corey Unlin. What do you guys think about what you're seeing so far from the secondary?
Yeah, well, so far, Unland is really winning MVP honors for this defense because you can tell the difference in the preseason just with the technique. That's what he really stresses, and you can just see it during the game. These guys are actually looking for the ball this time compared to last season where Bradley Fletcher and Kyrie Williams would look lost. So really, when you look at having Nolan Carroll, Byron Maxwell, and then they go out and they get Eric Rowe in the draft. So this is definitely, an upgrade at that position. And I mean, all three of us, could have been acquired, this offseason for the Eagles, and it would have been an upgrade because anything was an upgrade over what we had last season.
I mean, he even made EJ Biggers look pretty good in the one preseason game. Corey Unlin is the MVP catch of this offseason for the secondary, as well as brought in a couple names. I really like the way Thurman has been playing. He was a kind of a cheap option. I only signed, I believe, a 1-year deal, and he's really stood out to me from acclimating to the safety position. Byron Maxwell, he's gonna do his thing. He's a solid corner. I like Nolan Carroll. He made a few nice plays in the preseason. Don't think we're going to see much of Eric Rowe, maybe in the dime. I think EJ Biggers is going to play that slot position and hopefully not stink. But Eric Rowe clearly still has a lot of learning to do from what I've seen him in the preseason. So I think we're going to slowly bring him on, and hopefully he'll overtake Biggers at some point in that nickel slot, and Rowe will be more comfortable because I really do like his intangibles, his length, his going after the ball, his tackling, and you just have to do a little better on acclimating to the coverage and covering the wide receivers in the NFL compared to college.
Yeah, I guess I'll make this point about, well, you guys talked about the corners. I want to make a point real quick about the safety spot. When we didn't sign McCourty, the talent gap went from here to here. It wasn't a good free agent class at safety, and I just remember talking to all these Eagles fans on Twitter and how they, all these guys that they wanted. They wanted Raheem Moore, they wanted Ron Parker, they wanted Marcus Gilchrist. All these guys that I thought stunk, that I didn't think were worth the money. And I was just like, and I was thinking to myself, maybe we can, get a guy that switches from cornerback to safety. I was thinking Nolan Carroll at the time, and winds up we're going to do it with Thurman. And I love that they did this. I love it. I really do, because it's saving money. You can spend your money elsewhere. You obviously wound up re-signing Kendricks. So that's the point I wanted to make about the safety spot, because those free agent options were not very good. I didn't want to just sign somebody just to sign somebody.
Yeah, it really looks like that they might have got a little bit of a steal here with Walter Thurman because he's a guy who really hasn't gotten, that much attention here, or really talked about that much during the preseason, but he's the guy that's really stood out. There was really a question mark about how he would transfer to that safety position, but for him to make that, smooth transition it's really big for that safety spot, and it's definitely an upgrade over having Nate Allen.
Oh yeah, Nate Allen. Wow, that's who we got from the draft pick from McNabb. When we
Oh,
traded McNabb, Nate Allen. He was the second round pick, I think, in the top 5. Um, but Thurman's been great. One of the more underrated signings, I think. Like I said, it was cheap. Um, this is a guy that also he won the Super Bowl with Seattle. I mean, he's been in that kind of in a great defense and secondary before. So hopefully, he keeps it going.
yeah, obviously, one of the things that many people talked about during the offseason was the injury history of all the guys that we brought in, and Thurman, not obviously not one of those guys. But you know what? Whenever I watched him play, I was always impressed by him. It just stunk that he always got hurt, and to bring him in on a 1-year option, huge steal. I mean, it really is. As long as he can stay healthy, it looks like he can definitely play that safety spot, especially the way that Billy Davis likes to play his safeties, more coverage-based sort of thing. Line him up in the slot. Obviously, Thurman can do that. That's what he did in Seattle. So, I love what they did.
Yeah, big thumbs up there.
Yeah.
Big upgrade.
Yeah. So we broke down the secondary. I guess, well, not really much to say about the special teams. I mean, it's basically the same. We did upgrade with, bringing in Sei Jiratutu. It's amazing that we actually upgraded in special teams. We're already the best in the NFL, and we're a little bit better with more additions. Special teams, it's like a forgotten thing sometimes, but it's a lot better to start at the 15 to 20 yard line for an opposing offense than say the 30-35. I mean, we stop kicks, we block punts, we block field goals. But this is where I want to get to this. Cody Parkey kind of struggled a little bit in the preseason, dealt with an injury. So I'll pose this question to you guys: are you guys concerned? Any concerns with him?
No, I'm not really that concerned. I mean, he's had enough time now to rest that groin injury, so I don't think it will be a big problem going into the regular season.
Kicking is can be so important. It can literally lose you a game. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little concerned. I have to see him. Monday night and look. I need to see him look good Monday night, and then I'll alleviate some concerns. But until then, I mean, I love Parkey. He was Pro Bowl kicker last year. I mean, alternate, but still. So I know he's got the leg. It's just I wish I saw a little more out of him in the preseason to assure me. But I'll be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't expect him to do what he did last year. Last year he was just so extraordinary. But you know what? Anything is an upgrade over Alex Henry. So I'm just glad we don't have him here anymore. But kicking, man, it's a weird position because it's like each year it's something different. It seems like it's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of position. For instance, I remember Mason Crosby a couple years ago had a really, really bad year. Blair Walsh didn't have a good year last year. It kind of goes back and forth. I remember David Akers was like a Pro Bowler with San Francisco. Then the year after, he was terrible and he got cut. So it's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. You never know what you're going to get. But I think Parkey will be fine.
Yeah, love Parkey.
Certainly hope so. And Donnie Football punting the ball, leading the league, and inside the 20 for your opponent, pinning them back there. So I'm definitely fine with the punter and John Dornbos and his magical ways. He's one of the better long snappers in the league. So good.
Yeah. All right. So prediction time. So basically, we have upgraded in every position but offensive line and wide receiver. So, the mad genius of Chip Kelly, the mad scientist going to work. Well, all the moves, all the pieces, all the maneuvering. Well, we got better as a team in the end. So, will this translate to more wins? We're going to find out because you guys are going to make your picks. So, who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. So I think the biggest thing really was for the Eagles to upgrade on defense, and it seems like they've done that. So that was really the biggest thing for me. They had to upgrade on defense if they wanted to win more games. So I really think that in Chip Kelly, he can almost win with just about anyone back there at the quarterback position. So, I mean, look what he did with Nick Foles. So I got to say that I'm at 11 wins right now.
Okay. What? How far are the playoffs?
I got him losing in the NFC Championship game to Seattle.
Okay. Jeremy?
So I agree with Mike and a lot of his points. The defense was the huge improvement. Increasing making our defense better. Especially our secondary. We were 31st in the league against the pass last year. Even if we're in the top 15 range, I think that's huge because, like Mike said, I think Chip's offense will be fine. We'll put up points. It's just about making sure we don't give up those. We were terrible in giving up passes over 40 yards last year, over 20 yards. We were one of the worst in the league. So we stopped that. We stopped the other team from scoring as much. I mean, I definitely see 11 or 12 wins. I'll go with 12 with a viable contender to be in the NFC Championship game / maybe winning it.
Okay.
Top three in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree with the top three of the NFC. I got us as the third seed. I got us 11-5, winning the NFC East. I don't have us reaching the NFC Championship game, so I am the Debbie Downer of the group. So, but I'll tell you guys this though: the Jordy Nelson injury for Green Bay has made them beatable.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. So we'll see what happens with that as the season wears along. Goes on. I don't think we're ready to beat Seattle. I think Seattle is like the creme de la creme in the NFL. They're the best team in the league. So I don't think we're ready to beat them. But I definitely think an NFC Championship game is possible. I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, by any means. But for me, it's kind of a transition year a little bit, which is crazy to say because of all the new pieces and all that. So I want to see us make the playoffs and just win a game, and then let the process kind of play itself out. Take the next step next year, all that good stuff. But divisional playoffs. I mean, hey, if they can make it there, I don't think it's like a wasted season by any means.
Yeah, well, really, what this is going to come down to is this going to come down to home field advantage in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because that's going to determine a lot. Eagles are really going into Green Bay or going into Seattle is a tough task at hand. So really, when you're cheering this season for the Eagles, the one thing you're going to keep an eye on is Green Bay and Seattle because you're going to want to have a better record than one of those teams because, like I said, got to get a home field advantage.
A home field is huge, and why can't we get it? We have a much easier schedule than Seattle and Green Bay. They both won their divisions last year, and we have 3 home games in December, unlike last year. So hopefully, when the time comes and the stretch run comes, that we're hot and hopefully end up with a little bit of better record than Seattle or Green Bay. And hey, why can't the NFC Championship go through Philadelphia?
Yeah, it's a good point you make about the schedule because we're the least traveled team in the NFL this year. That Pittsburgh had that distinction last year, I believe. They didn't even play a game west of the Mississippi River last year, so won't be a lot of flying, and we'll see what happens. So let's get into a couple games that we're looking forward to this year. A lot of sexy games on that slate this year. A lot of primetime games too. So I guess we'll start with Mike. What's the game that you're most looking forward to?
Yeah, well, I would have to say that, I'm probably going to most look forward to the Patriots game near the end of the season. We travel to New England on December 6th. It's a 4:25 kickoff right now, so I would say I'm probably looking forward to the most to that, and probably the week before too, because we play at the Lions, then we play at New England, and I feel like those two games could really make the difference for us. Coming down to the end of the schedule. So I'm gonna say that I'm looking forward to that page.
Really stands out on the schedule for me as well. See if we can go into Gillette and actually pull out a win. I'm also excited. Just in 6 days, that game's really exciting me too because it's right around the corner. Monday Night Football, Game 1. Don't care who we're playing. Falcons, bring them on.
Oh boy, that three-game stretch is sexy. Detroit, New England, Buffalo, getting LaShawn McCoy back to Philadelphia. Playing on Thanksgiving, then at New England and Buffalo. That is an awesome three-game stretch. I'll go different than you guys because week 2 we play Dallas at home, and we're gonna spank them. We're gonna spank them so badly. Greg Hardy's not gonna play. No Orlando Scandrick. We're gonna put up a 50 burger on them, and we're gonna annihilate them. So that's gonna be the thing I'm gonna be most forward to, beating up on the Cowboys. So that's my game. At
home opener. Home opener.
Yes.
That's a sexy game.
That's the one I want. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. No. I was saying same thing. I mean, home opener against Dallas. This doesn't happen too often. So obviously.
Benny Logan will eat Tony Romo.
Oh yeah.
Remember last year we're playing Dallas and Romo was just laying down because he was afraid to get hit? Good luck, Tony. That Romophobia is going to kick in September. Oh, man. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so, basically talked about everything. We went position by position, broke down the whole team, all that stuff, talked about off-season moves, talked about our favorite games. So any other topics you guys can think of right now? I got nothing. I think we covered everything.
Got it all?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, so we'll just get into final thoughts time then. This is the chance for you guys to wrap things up. So let's start with Mike. What do you think? Final thoughts.
Really? The season comes down to keeping Bradford upright. If they can do a good job of protecting Bradford, then I think things will be just all right here in Philadelphia.
What's good is Bradford, Chip Kelly's offense is mostly run out of the shotgun, so he's already a few yards beyond the line of scrimmage to get couple extra seconds, and he also has the quick release. I think Bradford will stay upright. I'm going to say Bradford will play 14 to 16 games and put up monster numbers, over 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Bring it on. Pro Bowl for Sam Bradford.
That is NFL Comeback Player of the Year written all over it.
Absolutely. And also, final thoughts, shout out to our Temple Owls on Saturday.
Oh, well.
Sackenberg, call him.
Christian Sackenberg. Yes. Oh, you want to talk about a little spanking.
Oh, that was a game. We met Jordan Matthews.
We did beat Jordan Matthews. Yeah,
check out.
Yeah, he was. We met him at halftime. We were just like, remember, I didn't know who it was at first. You like recognized him pretty much right away. I was just like, everyone's taking selfies with this guy. I'm like, who the hell is he? I didn't recognize him.
Yeah. He's got a strong grip. He gave me a handshake. I'm like, wow, these are some good hands you got, catching a lot of ball. Catch 100 this year.
Yeah, man. Class act, deserving of everything coming his way this year. He's gonna kill it. I can't wait. So yeah, you guys gave your final thoughts. Temple gave a nice little present, before the start of the NFL season. Got a nice little win against Penn State. First time since 1941 that Temple has beaten Penn State. That is crazy, shenanigans crazy. It was 39 straight games that Penn State. Well, they were unbeaten in 39 straight games. There was a couple ties, so it wasn't 39 straight wins. But been a long time, and we got it done, and Temple's really taken a lot of strides forward in football the last 10 years. So, but yeah, that's how we'll conclude the show. Temple Owls, baby. Temple freaking Owls. They're going to win more games than Penn State this year. They're going to make a bowl game. It's awesome. All right. With that being said, that's Mike Owens. That's Jeremy Burton. I'm Adrian Fedke. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Bitterbirds. Do it. You guys will love it. All right. We're out. Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds.
Peace.